Hello and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live from our studios at Kukumimli Joy997 FM in Accra. In Kumasi, we are live on Love 99.5 FM and affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Radio Fumbisi, Radio Freed Nandum, Bewa Radio Walewale, and Radio Justice Tamale. Download the My Joy Online app from the Play Store and App Store to listen live around the world. And coming up, Ghana sets itself a 2-year target to set up a manufacturing plant for vaccine production.
What is happening now is that our partners, Germany, so the process we said is 2 years, but it can take less than that. So that's where we are now.
More as it emerges, the country will require $200 million in the next 10 years to produce domestic vaccine for viral diseases. NADMO personnel stationed at farmlands to prevent farmers from accessing their farms as Burkinabe authorities prepare to spill excess water from the Bagre Dam today. We have details. Also, be professional. Accepting gifts won't change your lives. The message from acting IGP George Ekufu Dampare as he toured police checkpoints late last night.
If you wish somebody wants to give you a gift, tell the person that it's enough, because that gift cannot transform your life.
In sports,
we'll be throwing focus on the Paralympic Games, I beg your pardon, as we see the thoughts of the man, Emmanuel Oku, Ghana's flag bearer at the Paralympic Games, as he targets a medal.
All right. And later in the bulletin, does sex help you solve all issues easier in marriage?
Our willingness to find solutions is much higher when we have this good sex, as I have defined it. Not when you just have penetration and things like that. That is not no.
We'll hear your views and that of a counselor who has discovered the most romantic place a woman desires to have sex.
For the woman, sex begins in other places other than the bedroom, by the kitchen, because that's where it starts from. The pressure and the stress on her, share it with her in the kitchen.
And later in showbiz, pay our full royalties. Dancehall artist Stonebwoy reveals he's paid a paltry 2,000 cedis as royalties.
The amount I've ever gotten from making music as royalties from Ghana is 2,000 cedis.
We'll hear from the BIM Nation president as he takes on the Ghana Music Rights Organization, GAMRO. Thank you for choosing us. As always, we are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. I'm Arba Kumson. In our first story, Ghana has set a 2-year target to set up a manufacturing plant for vaccine production. President Akufo-Addo a few months ago set up the National Vaccine Committee to help develop the framework to guide implementation of the plan. At a stakeholder engagement to update on progress of work done in Accra today, Chairman of the committee, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, said there's support from the private sector for the project. He indicated the country will require $200 million in the next 10 years to produce domestic vaccines for viral diseases. Presidential correspondent Elton Broby joins us on the line. Elton, walk us through the process.
So, Araba, there's a breakdown as announced by the chairperson of the committee, Professor Frimpong Boateng. For the first 2 years, government is hoping to lead a private sector fundraising activity to raise over $60 million. This amount of money will go into the establishment of a plant. They already have the commitment of 2 pharmaceutical companies, NS Chemist, Kena Pharma, and the another one. They have expressed interest in leading this process. So for the first 2 years, they will have the plant in place, they will have the financial muscle to move it, and then to get it off the ground. Let's listen to Professor Frimpong Boateng as he gives us a breakdown of how this is supposed to turn out.
For every person vaccinated for 2 doses, it's approximately $2.6 US dollars. So if you do the math, we are aiming at 20 million. So it's approximately 50 plus million US dollars for operations. The cost of the vaccine is a bit dicey because we have different vaccines with different costs, far ranging between 4 and 40. So for our planning purpose, we used an average of around 7 to 10. But this is subject to change. So for example, if you have Johnson & Johnson, it's only 1 dose, and therefore it's a bit fluid. So we can work with that.
Well, Elton, the committee is also concerned about political interference. How are they hoping that this will be addressed?
So according to Dr. Nsiata, who is the presidential advisor on health, there's already a planned cabinet meeting where the health minister will take cabinet through the proposed establishment of this vaccine in the country, after which the health minister is expected to be in parliament to brief the House Committee on Health, and then finally lay a paper in parliament that will spell out how government wants to implement this. But of more importance is the announcement that Ghana is currently copying some of the already COVID-19 vaccines in the market, especially Johnson & Johnson. There are issues about copyright, and government is facilitating this meeting. If government is successful, then Johnson & Johnson that came up with the COVID-19 drug will be replicated in Ghana to ensure that we have them in abundance.
Right now, we need to work with dispatch. That is why the committee is under the office of the president. 2 weeks ago, we presented a charter of the institute, the National Vaccine Institute, to the president. And if it's approved, the Minister for Health will prepare a cabinet memo on this topic for presentation to cabinet. And we just approved to then go to Parliament for a law to be passed establishing this institute that is to coordinate the production of vaccines. So if it's a national law, I don't think the next government will be able to say we don't like the vaccines. In any case, if you are talking about this committee and the members, we have a very short mandate. By the end of the year, we should get the institute running. And then other people will take over the work of that's what you are doing and establish the institute and let it run.
So that's Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng. He's chairman of the National Vaccine Committee there. Meanwhile, the Ghana Health Service will from Tuesday begin administering another set of AstraZeneca vaccines. This follows the successful completion of inoculating Ghanaians with the Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Program manager, expanded program on immunization at the service, Dr. Kwame Amponsa Achianu, has been telling Israel Laye more about the vaccine rollout.
Tuesday, we'll start from Tuesday. We had hoped we were going to start this week, but the preparations were quite enormous. So come Tuesday, we'll start.
All right, so what's the plan?
Okay, so the plan is we are doing what we call equitable distribution. Remember, we have some backlog of Ghanaians who took the first shot and are waiting the second shot. If you will recall, the last time we did a second dose en masse, we started from 1st March, those who had received the vaccine from 1st March to 9th March. I don't know if you remember this.
Yes.
Yes, so in epidemic control, you normally want to protect the most vulnerable. Then, of course, you go to those who are stronger and so on until everybody is covered.
So that's Dr. Kwame Amponsa Achianu. He is the program manager, expanded program on immunization at the Ghana Health Service. And as you heard him say, the health service will from Tuesday begin administering another set of AstraZeneca vaccines. Voices of residents at the border town of Aflao in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region protesting what they say is the refusal of government to open land borders for over a year. President Akufo-Addo announced the closure of the country's land and sea borders in March last year in response to the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Well, many of the protesters, clad in red, held placards that read, "Open our land borders now. Our husbands are suffering." And border closure collapsed our business. One of them spoke to Joy News.
To open the land borders from today up to tomorrow. And they are giving him 2 weeks ultimatum for him to open the border. We will hit the streets again.
So that was one of the protesters at Aflao. They're protesting and demanding that government opens the land borders there. As you know, the president announced the closure of the land border in March last year. We're joined on the line by correspondent Ivy Setoji. Bring us up to speed on the demonstration.
Well, the residents who are demonstrating are actually asking the president and government to open the land borders because it's been closed for the past 1.5 years. They are saying that they are hungry, they are not able to eat, they are not able to do any businesses as they used to do. So they are giving 2 weeks ultimatum to the government to open the borders or they continue with their demonstration.
Right, many thanks. Ivy Saturday is our Volta regional correspondent. From the Volta region, let's go up north. And the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, says it has deployed its personnel to farmlands dotted along the border with Burkina Faso to prevent farmers from accessing their farms. It comes as Burkinabe authorities prepare to spill excess water from the Bagri Dam today. They have indicated that they will open the spillways between today and Sunday. And a team from Accra will pitch camp in some areas likely to be affected for at least 4 weeks. Ahead of the spillage, some farmers in the West Mamprusi and Mamprugi Mwaduri districts accuse NADMO officials of not helping them evacuate.
We use canoe to salvage these crops. We are risking our lives because we have to feed our family. We stand in the water at neck level to harvest what we could. The NADMO officials always show up late when the harm has already been caused. Last year, for instance, we had evacuated all by ourselves before they came. But we expect them to be physically present here.
But NADMO National Communications Director George Aisi says his outfit has deployed personnel in anticipation of flooding as the Bagri Dam is open today.
The various regions have deployed their men on the ground. So the headquarters team will move to pitch camp at Wali Wali. You know, sometimes when the floods come, sometimes people get trapped. And so the men who have been trained to save lives when it comes to flood issues, because they've gone through watermanship training and all that, they will then be dispatched to go and save such people who are trapped. So there are people who are trained to save lives and property on that score.
So that is NADMO National Communications Director George Aisi there. We're hoping to speak to the Upper East NADMO Regional Head Jerry Asumani, who's been telling us how NADMO personnel are being deployed to farmlands dotted along the border with Burkina Faso to prevent farmers from accessing their farms. Now, let's turn our attention to the Ashanti region, and some victims of the Ejura disturbances say they are struggling to make ends meet as they have spent thousands of cedis on injuries sustained during a street protest. Government, in a quest to get to the bottom of the matter, tasked the Ministerial Committee to hold a public inquiry. Exactly a month after the committee submitted its report, its recommendations are yet to be made public, but some residents of the Ashanti regional town are worried. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
We only saw and hear from the media houses that they've come out with the report with some recommendations.
Abdullah Abubakar is the family head of the late Abdul Nasir Yusuf, one of the two shot dead in the Ejura incident. He doubts the committee's report would be fair. He has his own expectations on how the matter should have been handled.
I told them that if they wanted justice and fair report from the commission, they should have taken the case to the parliament where everybody is involved.
Mr. Abubakar wants justice served. Mohammed Awal Misbao in his clutches. About 2 months ago, the 16-year-old was fit and strong, but now he needs support because his right leg was amputated as a result of gunshot injury sustained in the Ejura incident. Salamat Muhammad is the mother.
Today, Awal is physically challenged. We have spent over 40,000 cedis paying his medical bills. We also pay 100 cedis every 2 days for his treatment.
Salamat also wants the government to ensure the committee's report is made public.
We heard nothing about the committee's report. The president should take a look at that. Awal Bismawu is your grandson, and it was your son, a soldier, who shot at him. Now he's down to one leg. We don't know what the committee did.
Alhaji Omar Al-Hassan is the Dagomba chief of Ejura and grandfather of Muntala Mohammed, who was also shot dead during the incident.
It would be unfair if I claimed the report had favored me or otherwise, because the report has already been submitted to the president, but I have not received any feedback and I cannot respond to anything at this moment. It will be difficult for me to react. I ask that the report submitted to the president be publicized for the whole country to know the truth in the report.
And that report was filed by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin. Now, Acting Inspector General of Police George Ekufu Dampare has urged his men to remain professional and reject gifts and favors from people. He explains such offers only reduces the image of the men in uniform in the minds of the people. Dr. Dampare has since assuming office visited various police posts to motivate his men and get first-hand information on the state of affairs. On Thursday evening, between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., the IGP toured various posts starting from the police emergency call center. There's more in the following desk report.
The IGP's tour took off at the police emergency call office. He took calls himself as he monitored the work of his men.
With this information, I did not engage with the caller anymore. I'll get to the place of the destination.
He then hit the street, checking on those who had mounted various checkpoints to ensure the city remained safe. He had a message of hope for his men with a loud call for them to remain professional.
If in which somebody wants to give you a gift, tell the person that it's enough, because that gift cannot transform your life. So what we need most, beyond all the things that we need, we have the list of things that we need to do, we know them. But the one that we should start off immediately is how we interact with the public, showing respect and courtesy and using golden words.
Acting IGP Dr. George Ekufu Dampare ending that news desk report. Well, Acting Director General for the Police Public Affairs, ACP Kwesifori, says the acting IGP is gathering information to influence decision-making geared at improving policing in Ghana.
The personnel were satisfied, and to see their IGP visiting them, advising them, interacting with them, and sharing ideas. And I believe that's the way to go, and therefore he is well briefed about the general practical situations, challenges, and opportunities. And that will also determine an informed decision at the highest level of the police administration.
ACP Kwesifori is the Acting Director General for Police Public Affairs. And we're going back to a flat story. We have on the line with us our Upper East correspondent, Albert Sorry, for a quick update on the situation there. Bring us up to speed on what's happening. We do know that NADMO has deployed some of its men to the border communities. What else is happening?
Yes, Araba. So what we know is that the spillage of the dam has not yet started. As at this morning, the level was at 232 meters. They normally would start spilling at 234 upwards. So at the moment, they haven't started spilling. But NADMO has also been telling us that they have men around the basin of the White Volta patrolling to make sure that the farmers are not going to the farm and people are not attempting to cross the rivers.
All right, many thanks. That's Albert Sorry. He's our Upper East correspondent, bringing us the latest on the situation where he is in the Upper East as Burkinabe officials prepare to spill the Bagre Dam. You're listening to the Midday News here on Joy997 FM. Our top story, Ghana sets itself a 2-year target to set up a manufacturing plant for vaccine production. More as it emerged, the country will require $200 million in the next 10 years to produce domestic vaccines for viral diseases. Also, as you heard, NADMO personnel have been stationed at farmlands to prevent farmers from accessing their farms as Burkinabe authorities prepare to spill excess water from the Bagre Dam today. After the break, we have sports, and also, does sex help you solve all issues easier in marriage?
Willingness to find solutions is much higher when we have this good sex, as I have defined it. Not when you just have penetration and things like that. That is not no.
We'll hear your views and that of a counselor who has discovered the most romantic place a woman desires to have sex.
For the woman, sex begins in other places other than the bedroom, by the kitchen, because that's where it starts from. The pressure and the stress on her, share it with her in the kitchen.
And later in showbiz, pay our full royalties. Dancehall artist Stonebwoy reveals he's paid a paltry 2,000 cedis as royalties.
The amount I've ever gotten from making music as royalties from Ghana is 2,000 cedis.
You want to stay for details right after this break.
The boys are back, oh! The boys are back! Imagine inviting great footballers like Ronaldo, Messi, and Mbappe into your home. Imagine feeling the big mad temperament of football's fiercest rivals in your living room. Imagine enjoying the home ground advantage of witnessing the best of Serie A, La Liga, Premier League, UEFA Europa, and many more leagues all in English. Or stop imagining. Just get a GoTV decoder now at 89 Ghana cedis and upgrade to GoTV Max to turn your home into the home ground of great football. To purchase a new decoder, SMS GoTV to short code 1731. GoTV. Love it.
Drama from day one. A month away. Vodafone Smart Serve is here. Yes, Smart Serve from Vodafone allows you to connect to super fast wireless internet anywhere and anytime at your own convenience. Whether home or office or on your, we move with seamless connectivity. Tell you there's even more. Vodafone Smart Serve connect up to 32 devices. What? So now you can connect to the internet on your own terms. Increase your productivity, make the most of the things that matter, and do so much more. Visit fvb.vodafone.com.gh or the nearest Vodafone shop today and get a Smart Serve device now. A world of exciting possibilities awaits.
Vodafone. Together we can.
And you're welcome back to the Midday News. It's time for sports, and Nathaniel Atto has some interesting thoughts to share on whether sex really helps, resolve issues when you're in a marriage.
I don't think so.
You don't agree it does?
Because I believe that if you use that and you get used to it, then it becomes a weapon as well.
I see. Interesting. Yes. What's in sports?
Well, I'll tell you about Ghana's flag bearer at the ongoing Paralympic Games, who says that he has set his sights on winning a medal as he goes into competition tomorrow. Now, Emmanuel Tete Oku will be competing in the men's 72 kilograms men's powerlifting event. Now, he is the main character in a special Joy Sports feature put together by Nana Asare-Bediako titled From the Emergency Center to the Paralympic Games. He suffered disability during his work as a palace guard when he was shot in the leg. Oku is determined to win a medal.
No, by God's strength, I'll be able to achieve it. Because as we came, looking at my training, although due to COVID, we were being quarantined for 7 days. We just started training this week. It has still not bring my spirit down. I'm still keeping the fire burning. And I know I can still make my target. Looking at my training and the weight I'm making now, I know I can still make my target. So I'm asking Ghanaians to support me with their moral support and their prayers. And I'm never going to let Team Ghana down. I'm going to make Team Ghana proud.
So that's Emmanuel Tete Oku, who is Ghana's flag bearer at the Paralympic Games, and also competing in the men's powerlifting events, specifically in the 72 kg category.
Have we won any medals yet?
Not yet. It's been tough. It's it's a very tough terrain. So we're looking forward to getting some recovery, some way, somehow.
All right. Many thanks, Nathaniel Atto with sports. Now let's head to the Central Region, where Chief of Gomwa Adientem, where a father and his daughter were allegedly attacked by nomadic herdsmen, is calling on the police to fish out their attackers and ensure they are brought to book. 4 nomadic herdsmen are alleged to have raped the 10-year-old girl and shot her father. The young girl and her father, identified as Kwabna Kwe, are said to be responding to treatment. The residents, most of them clad in red, protested the attack, saying the herdsmen have been destroying their farm crops and terrorizing them. Before we hear from them, survivor Kwabna Kwe narrates how the incident happened.
The mirror inside war, me cram banner, me go in Suma go grandma. On one, I'm who the boy prune.
We had just finished dinner when the armed nomadic herdsmen stormed our home. They pushed the door open and demanded money, but I told them I didn't have any. I tried to ward them off. They fired their gun. I was wounded. They took my daughter while I was bleeding. When I tried to rescue my daughter, another started using a knife on me. Just about the same time, I heard a gunshot from afar. Then they fled. Everything blacked out from there. They later found my daughter also injured, but the bullets have been removed.
Meanwhile, the Gomoa Dientam chief Nana Esel Ando is calling on the police to fish out the attackers and bring them to justice.
The youth in this town, they are now aggressive. And they are demonstrating against the Fulani herdsmen who enter my land, whereby I have not leased any land to Fulani man to do that act. So I am on this note appealing to the IGP through our district police commander. According to the girl, she says she can identify whoever raped her. So I am appealing through your press or your media for the police to go in deeply.
That is Nana Esel Ando. He's the Gomoa Dientam chief. Now, barring any hitches, President Akufo-Addo will nominate new metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives next week. That's according to head of the local government service, Nanato Arthur. Government has come under criticism for its inability to nominate MMDCEs 8 months after their tenure expired. Although Nanato Arthur admits this may have some adverse impact on local governance, he assures the situation will be rectified soon. He spoke on Personality Profile on Joy FM last night.
You agree with me that the MMDCs, by law, they are the president's rep in the assembly. And because they are in an acting position, not very major policy decisions can be taken. And so definitely it will have some effect on development. But let me quickly add that people are saying that for 8 months, let me say this, that look, yes, President has been in office for 8 months. But the MMDCs, I can say that majority of them, their tenure expired around April, May. Technically, it's about 3 months that we've not had MMDCs. But I am told, I just learned from General Secretary MPP that immediately President arrives back in Ghana, we're going to have MMDCs appointed.
Nanato Arthur is head of the local government service, and he was speaking on Personality Profile on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, playwright, author, and motivational speaker Uncle Ibo White's statement that when sex is good, all other issues in the relationship can be handled has been greeted with mixed reactions. Some have argued that sex does not pay school fees, whilst others believe the act sets the tone for things to get resolved. Listen to Uncle Ibo White explain his statement.
I am talking about the total package of creating trust. Now, I do not say the problem goes away, but I'm saying that our willingness to find solutions is much higher when we have this good sex, as I have defined it. Now, every couple is given at the beginning of their relationship 3 guests: intimacy, romance, and sex. And they are told you can pick only one. Now, couples just pick the sex, and then it doesn't work, because sex without intimacy and romance is empty. Others pick romance, in which case sex will stay with romance, but both of them cannot endure. The lucky couples are the ones who pick intimacy, which I define as creating a deep emotional bond with your partner. At that point, romance becomes more meaningful and joins in. Sex becomes more meaningful. So I did not mean by good sex that when you just have penetration and things like that, that is not, no.
So that's Uncle Abel White there. Call us into the Super Morning Show. Some disagreed, some agreed. Well, whilst we talk about sex, why not ask the best location a woman loves to enjoy this intimate act? Marriage counselor and advocate for healthy homes, Amos Kelvin Annan, shares his discovery.
this is where many men fail. Because for many a man, sex begins in the bedroom. But for the woman, it begins in other places other than the bedroom. The most romantic place, as I have discovered with the women, is not necessarily the bedroom, but the kitchen. Because that's where it starts from. When you're leaving for work, your posture, your attitude, your treatment of your wife will have a bearing in the bedroom. The pressure and the stress on her, share it with her. In the kitchen, she needs a helpmeet suitable for her.
So that's Amos Kevin Annan. He's a marriage counselor and advocate for healthy homes. And he says, share the pressure with your wife in the kitchen. It's time for Showbiz. Mapitso joins me in studio. So we're talking about, Stonebwoy.
Stonebwoy.
He says he hasn't been paid his royalties.
So he says he has been paid his royalties, but the highest amount is 2,000 Ghana cedis.
Only 2,000?
Only 2,000 Ghana cedis. And for artists like him with so many hit songs, he just doesn't understand why he got paid 2,000 Ghana cedis. He spoke to the High Commissioner in the UK, Papa Osu Ankoma.
They don't say I'm telling you on camera. This is Stonebwoy. I'm telling you. The amount I've ever gotten from making music as royalties, however, from Ghana is 2,000 cedis. I'm being honest, and I swear on the grave. A lot of other artists are getting. A lot of other artists.
No, but what about all these songs that your songs that?
Yes.
They are being played almost every minute.
I'm being honest. Put me to it and let's have this conversation. It's there. The conversation is big in Ghana anyway. They know the check I've ever cut is 2,000 Ghana cedis from Ghana.
Oh, but that's serious.
Making music. We go there every time. I went there with my lawyers a few times. We've been doing. We're not fighting.
All right, so what is he going to do about it?
All right, so he tweeted, and I quote, Gamera has its own challenges making it impossible to function properly, but no reason is enough when we can't find progress, and for how long will the blame game and excuse continue to pay the creatives? So I have promised to highlight our problems with every given opportunity until the officials who are mandated to accomplish the needful.
All right, Gamera should do the needful. Thank you very much, Mapitso. And that's how we end the midday news. Our top story, Ghana sets itself a 2-year target to set up a manufacturing plant for vaccine production. Also, NADMO personnel stationed at farmlands to prevent farmers from accessing their farms as Burkinabe authorities prepare to spill excess water from the Bagri Dam today. There are more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Arba Kumsin. Up next is Pastor Mensa Otabil with Living Word, and it's titled Lead Me, Lord.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is,